On this week's Patch Monday podcast, we take a look at each operating system's strengths and weaknesses, including ease of use, their app creation environments, and the incentives for developers, enterprise integration and security. For me, the difference between Android and iOS is the ease of use for normal people, said Kate Carruthers, corporate IT consultant and founder of Social Innovation. I did an experiment with an Android phone of handing it to a normal human being, and seeing what they did and how they used it, and I gave an iPhone to another one, and the iPhone definitely wins out for those guys on usability and simplicity. That view is supported by Leslie Nasser, Technology Director at digital agency Amnesia Razorfish and founder of Tweety TV. There's definitely a steep learning curve between Android, generally, and iPhone or iOS. And surprisingly, there's a bit of a learning curve around Windows Phone as well, at least around Windows Phone 7.5, he said. But could Windows Phone 8 change that? We've previously discussed its radical new user interface, and there's evidence that people do find it more intuitive. Nasser said that he loves Windows Phone 8. Outside of iOS, it absolutely has that most consistent, innovative, and intelligent user experience that I've seen. There's little things that it lacks, and I'm sure that comes down to not being on iOS, that ease of app switching, and the email experience can be a little jarring sometimes. But these are all things which can be refined. But Microsoft is coming from behind, and needs to kick BlackBerry out of third place before they can take on the top two. Carruthers still stood by the view that she has expressed in a previous episode, that Microsoft is delivering too little too late. That's despite the panel agreeing on Windows Phone 8's clear strengths, particularly in a corporate, bring-your-own-device BYOD environment. The battle at the moment in enterprise is trying to get the transformation dollar, and I think that is driven by smartphones, Nasser said. Companies want to choose the BYOD and cloud platforms they'll be using for the next 5 years. Will Windows Phone 8 prove attractive to businesses that already have a decade or two of Windows knowledge? Or is the tiled interface too much of a change so soon after Windows 7? Another key question is security. Where will Windows Phone 8 sit in the spectrum, from Apple's walled garden to the Wild West of Google's Android? Some of the security measures that have been improved on the desktop version of Windows 8 have just been quite extraordinary, said Michael McKinnon, security advisor with Average Australia and New Zealand. He expects that those lessons will carry across to the mobile operating system. Microsoft really doesn't have any legacy ARM architecture hardware, he said. Microsoft really has this advantage that they can turn every conceivable security feature on by default from day one.